Pep Guardiola surprised many with his starting lineup for the FA Cup final. 5 changes were made from the previous match. Stefan Ortega started in goal. Shea O'Reilly got a nod in defence. The midfield saw Savigno and Marmoush come in. Jeremy Doku was also given a start. These changes were bold. Guardiola clearly had a plan. The bench saw some big names. Edison was rested. Phil Foden was also amongst the substitutes. Mateo Kovacic missed out due to injury. Youngsters like Rico Lewis and James McAtee were absent. The lineup showed Guardiola's intent to rotate. He was prioritizing upcoming fixtures. The changes were a gamble. The FA Cup was a big prize, but City had bigger fish to fry. Champions League qualification was on the line. Guardiola was willing to risk the cup. He needed his key players fresh. The gamble backfired in the first half. Crystal Palace took an early lead. Ebereki Eze scored a stunning goal. Manchester City were rattled. They struggled to break down a resolute Palace defence. The gamble wasn't paying off. Guardiola had some thinking to do at halftime. The atmosphere at Wembley was electric. Both sets of fans were up for the occasion. The match started at a frantic pace. Crystal Palace had the first real chance. Wilfried Zaha broke free down the left. His shot was well saved by Ortega. It was a warning sign for City. They didn't heed it. Minutes later, Palace took the lead. Eze picked up the ball on the edge of the box. He unleashed a powerful shot. The ball flew past Ortega into the top corner. City were stunned. They had started the game slowly. Now they were behind. Guardiola looked on with a mixture of frustration and concern. His team needed to wake up, and fast. The goal seemed to galvanize City. They began to dominate possession, but they struggled to create clear-cut chances. Palace defended deep and in numbers. They were content to let City have the ball in harmless areas. Manchester City's frustration grew as the half wore on. They had a golden opportunity to equalize. Marmoush was brought down in the box. The referee pointed to the spot. It was a clear penalty. Marmoush stepped up to take it. His penalty was well struck. But Sam Johnstone guessed the right way. He made a fantastic save. City were denied. The tension was palpable. City continued to press, but Palace held firm. They were defending heroically. They were also riding their luck. A second Palace goal was disallowed for offside. VR confirmed the decision. It was a marginal call. At halftime, City trailed 1-0. They had dominated possession, but they had nothing to show for it. Guardiola had work to do at the break. His team needed to find a way to break down this stubborn Palace defence. As the second half wore on, Manchester City's frustration grew. Crystal Palace's defence held firm, frustrating City's attempts to find an equaliser. Guardiola's frustration was evident on the sidelines as his team struggled to break down a resolute Palace defence. The usually calm and collected manager was visibly agitated. He barked instructions to his players. He gesticulated wildly in frustration. Guardiola's frustration was understandable. His team were playing their third game in a week. The fixture congestion was taking its toll. He had voiced his concerns about the scheduling before the match, but his complaints had fallen on deaf ears. Adding to Guardiola's woes was the impending departure of Kevin De Bruyne. The Belgian midfielder was set to leave the club at the end of the season. De Bruyne had been a